All right, welcome, folks. I'm back from the Kinus Hashluchim Ha'olami, the International Conference of the Rebbe's Emissaries. I was since Thursday. It was quite a beautiful time, together with thousands of other shluchim, Chabad rabbis from around the world. I must say, um, there's so many that the people that I know that friends of mine were a needle in a haystack sometimes, because there's so many young shluchim, so many young rabbis that have gone out on shlichus since Gimel Tammuz, since the Rebbe's passing, um, and it's just getting stronger and stronger. It was a lot. Just want to share for those I watched last afternoon the banquet. It was quite something, and thousands of people, and you see like a 10-year-old boy who had a rare disease as a little baby and lost both his legs, and yet how determined, you know, Hashem's goodness, everything is good, and you just have to move forward in life. Are there negative things you could look at? You could. And you know, most people might, but we just have to move forward. So I just want to, a dear friend of mine was sharing about how what we see today of thousands of the Rebbe's emissaries devoted to, wherever they are in Timbuktu, in the other side of the world, in remote places, that this is something that the Rebbe in the 1950s had to break through, and even amongst Chabad. Uh, Even amongst Chabad, you have to understand that Judaism, the natural state of Judaism, is you live next to you live with your parents, your grandparents, in the same community. Especially if you're talking about hundreds of years ago, you didn't travel here or there. Even if you had money, you didn't really travel. Horse and buggy, how far are you going? In any case, you live in a community, because it's, Judaism is meant to be lived in a community. Hmm. Judaism is meant to be lived in a community. And here the Rebbe says, go out of your community, go out of your comfort zone, and go to a place that's not your community, that doesn't have Judaism there, and make Judaism there. Move forward. That was a big thing. So in 1958, a friend of mine who was a shliach actually in Toronto. His father, Rabbi Ichi Gansberg, blessed memory, they were living, he's from Israel originally. They were living in Israel in a nice community of Chabad. And he came into the Rebbe for private audience when he was visiting in New York. And the Rebbe said, I want that there should be 10 more schools in Israel. He said, that's, be a tall order. I don't know, people are going to think that that's a little, exaggerated. So he said, were you by the Zion, by the resting place of the previous Rebbe? And he said, yes. I was there in body. She says, well, you'll get the strength. If you were there, then the strength will be given to you and you'll be able to accomplish it. So in the first year, they did open up 3 schools. And one was in a community that he went to take care of the school. But his wife and 2 kids were living in the Chabad community. Then it was in Tel Aviv. You know, there wasn't a Chabad community or a religious community there for him to live. But okay, after a year, the Rebbe said that family needs to be together. Choose where you're going to go. So the wife says, "Okay, I'm going to go to this community." The elder Chassidim said to her, the elder, sage-like Chassidim said, you can't go there. That's not it's not a healthy environment. It's not it's not a religious environment that you're going to. I thought, you shouldn't do this. So she wrote into the Rebbe, and the Rebbe was very strong and said, these, for them to be critical of you to do this, they were doing it from a place of caring for them, is not what I want and what's needed. And those are, they're not real Hasidim if they give that kind of suggestion. I mean, she went. And they were the first to go. The Chabad was doing different things, but they lived in their communities. They were the first couple to go out and live in a community that they had to now build themselves. They had to build themselves. And that was in Israel, the beginning. Right? And then, you have to understand that for thousands of years, that's how Jews lived. You lived in communities. You created, a network of where you're supported by, of course, family. You're supported by extended family, but supported by extended community. And here, no, we have to go out, create communities that never existed since the beginning of creation. People, like-minded people, came together, created communities, but here you're creating communities of people who are not like-minded. They're not Chabad Hasidim yet. They have had to make to break through because it wasn't, the first year they just continued living in the community, the mother and 2 children. And he went out. Now, they never said, choose which one. Either you're going to go or he'll come back and he'll just commute. And the Rebbe gave a choice. And really what he wanted is that, because that choice has to be, you have to choose that you want to go out to create. Unbelievable. And today, it's a given. Anyway, more to talk about that. I just wanted to share that. Just many of the beautiful things that experienced this weekend with thousands of shluchim. All right, folks, we'll see you soon.